The memory of Terra drifted silently through the vast expanse of space, its massive hull gleaming under distant starlight. Inside the bridge, First Officer Maya Rodriguez stretched in her command chair, fighting off the monotony of another routine sensor sweep. The ship's quantum computers hummed softly, processing the endless stream of data from their journey through the cosmos. The holographic displays cast a soft blue glow across the bridge, illuminating the faces of the night shift crew. Each of them carried the weight of their ancestors' legacy, the descendants of those who fled Earth 3 millennia ago. Their ship, along with the rest of humanity's returning fleet, represented the culmination of thousands of years of technological advancement and unwavering determination. Maya's eyes drifted to the old-style photograph mounted near her station, a faded image of Earth taken during the Exodus. It was mandatory for all bridge officers to keep a reminder of their mission. Some chose digital displays, but Maya preferred the physicality of the printed picture. It made their lost home feel more real, more tangible. The sensor array chimed, pulling her attention back to the present. At first, she dismissed it as another deep space anomaly. They'd encountered hundreds during their journey, but something about this signal made her pause. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface, adjusting the sensitivity of the quantum receivers. "Captain Chen to the bridge," Maya called out, her voice steady despite the growing excitement in her chest. "I think you need to see this." Captain Sarah Chen arrived moments later, her uniform bearing the distinctive insignia of the returned fleet. She had been reviewing historical records in her quarters, as she often did during the night cycle. "Report, First Officer." "Ma'am, we're picking up a signal. It's incredibly weak, degraded by time, but the pattern." Maya's voice trailed off as she enhanced the visualization. The signal's waveform appeared in the air between them, a ghostly dance of light and data. Chen's eyes widened. Every human child learned this pattern in their earliest history lessons. It was Earth's final distress beacon, designed by their ancestors to broadcast across millennia. The same signal that had chased their evacuation ships through space, a desperate cry that haunted humanity's dreams for 3,000 years. "Confirm the source," Chen ordered, though they all knew what they would find. The bridge crew worked in focused silence, their movements precise and efficient. The main view screen shifted, displaying a familiar star pattern. Sol, their sun, their home. "Signal origin confirmed," the sensor officer reported, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's coming from Earth orbit. The beacon is still active after all this time." Chen stood before the strategic display, where a holographic representation of Earth slowly rotated. The planet looked different from the historical records. Massive orbital structures now encircled it like artificial rings. The Varaxian occupation had left its mark, but beneath those alien constructs, the blue world still called to its children. "Send word to the fleet," Chen commanded, "and begin calculating the quantum fold coordinates. It's time." Her words carried the weight of generations. This wasn't just a military mission or a reclamation project. This was the moment humanity had prepared for since the day they were forced to abandon their cradle. Maya looked again at her photograph of Earth, then back at the tactical display showing their fleet's position. 32 ships, each carrying the most advanced technology humans had ever created. 3,000 years of innovation, driven by a single purpose. They had mastered quantum physics, developed weapons and defenses that their ancestors would have considered impossible, and built an armada unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The bridge hummed with activity as the crew prepared for their final approach. Soon, the entire fleet would know. After 3 millennia of exile, humanity was returning home. And this time, they were ready. The return fleet emerged from quantum space in perfect formation, their massive hulls reflecting the familiar light of Sol. Captain Chen stood at the memory of Terra's observation deck, her hands clasped behind her back as she took in the changed solar system before her. Mars glowed red in the distance, its surface now dotted with artificial structures that sparkled like crystalline growths in the sunlight. Initial system scan complete. Maya reported through the ship's internal communications. You're going to want to see this, Captain. The tactical display sprang to life as Chen returned to the bridge. A holographic representation of Earth floated before them, vastly different from their historical records. Massive orbital rings encircled the planet, connected by spider-web-thin structures that seemed to defy physics. Mining platforms descended from these rings like silver threads, disappearing into the cloud cover below. Life signs, Chen asked, studying the altered face of humanity's homeworld. Concentrated Varaxian presence in the orbital structures, the sensor officer replied, highlighting various sections of the display. But there's something else. He adjusted the scanning frequency, and new data streams appeared. We're detecting energy signatures deep beneath the surface. The patterns, they're human in origin. A hushed silence fell over the bridge. Their ancestors' records had spoken of those who chose to hide rather than flee, but after 3,000 years, few had expected to find survivors. Show me, Chen ordered, her voice barely concealing her emotion. The display shifted, revealing a network of vast caverns and tunnels stretching beneath Earth's surface. Complex energy signatures pulsed through these underground arteries, powering what appeared to be entire cities hidden from the Varaxian occupiers above. The geological interference masks them from standard scans, Maya explained, enhancing the visualization. They built their civilization in the planet's blind spots. These energy readings suggest a population of at least several million. Chen studied the data with a mixture of awe and pride. While her ancestors had fled to the stars, these humans had descended into Earth's embrace, turning the planet's depths into a sanctuary. They had survived, adapted, and thrived, all while remaining hidden from their conquerors. "Ma'am," the communications officer called out, "we're detecting encrypted transmissions between the underground settlements. They're using quantum entanglement principles, but the methodology is unlike anything in our database." "They've developed their own advanced technology," Chen mused, a slight smile crossing her face, "independent of both our advancements and Varaxian influence." The tactical display updated again, showing the movement of Varaxian mining operations on the surface. The occupiers' machines carved into mountains and drained seas, oblivious to the human civilization breathing beneath their feet. "Launch the stealth probes," Chen commanded. "I want detailed scans of every underground settlement. And prepare a secure communications channel. It's time to let our long-lost cousins know they're not alone anymore." As the probes detached from the return fleet ships, more data flooded their sensors. The underground cities were marvels of engineering, powered by Earth's geothermal energy and protected by layers of advanced shielding. Their surviving relatives had turned their exile into an advantage, mastering technologies perfectly adapted to their subterranean world. "Captain," Maya called out, her voice urgent, "one of the settlements is signaling us. They're using a modified version of the old Earth evacuation codes." Chen straightened her uniform, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. "Put it through to my private channel. It's time for humanity's two paths to converge." The return fleet held position behind Mars' orbit, their quantum drives humming quietly in the void. Below them, Earth continued its eternal dance around the sun, its surface bearing the scars of occupation, while its heart harbored the unbreakable spirit of human resilience. The long-awaited reunion of humanity's scattered children was about to begin. The descent into Earth's underground realms felt like traveling through time. Captain Chen watched through the quantum-shielded viewport as their shuttle navigated the intricate network of tunnels, each passage lit by strips of crystalline material that emitted a soft, natural glow. Maya sat beside her, monitoring the settlement's guidance signals as they penetrated deeper into the planet's crust. The tunnel opened into a vast cavern that defied their expectations. The underground city of New Haven spread before them, a masterpiece of human adaptation. Towering structures of carved stone and engineered crystal reached toward the cavern's distant ceiling, while elevated transport tubes wove between them like luminous arteries. Their architectural style evolved completely independently from ours, Maya whispered, her eyes wide as she took in the alien yet familiar sight. "But you can still see the human drive to reach upward, even underground." Their shuttle landed on a platform crafted from a single piece of polished stone. A delegation of Earth dwellers waited nearby, their clothing adorned with patterns of bioluminescent thread that shifted colors with their movements. At their head stood High Council leader Elena Santos, her silver hair contrasting with the deep blue of her ceremonial robes. "Welcome home, children of the stars," Elena greeted them as they disembarked. Her voice carried both warmth and measured caution. "Though I suspect home looks rather different from the stories passed down through your generations." Chen stepped forward, performing the traditional greeting they had learned from the encrypted historical archives. "We return to honor those who stayed and to right ancient wrongs." The formality broke as Elena smiled, genuine emotion crossing her features. "Come. There is much to discuss and more to show you." They followed the delegation through the city's main thoroughfare. Citizens lined the walkways, their faces showing a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Children pointed at the visitors' uniforms and technology, while elders watched with eyes that had seen generations of hidden resistance. "Our ancestors chose to delve deep rather than flee far," Elena explained as they walked. "Each generation dug further, built stronger, and developed new ways to remain undetected. We turned the planet's crust into our shield and its core into our power source." The group entered a vast chamber that served as the city's central command. Holographic displays, created using crystal technology, entirely different from the quantum systems of the return fleet, showed the movements of Varaxian mining operations on the surface. "We've been monitoring them since they first landed," Elena continued, gesturing to the displays. 3,000 years of observation, learning their weaknesses, understanding their technologies. We've developed methods to disrupt their systems in ways they never detect, small acts of resistance that appear as equipment failures or geological interference. "And they never discovered you?" Maya asked, studying the sophisticated monitoring systems. A younger council member stepped forward, introducing himself as Marcus Way, head of their defense systems. "They don't think to look down. Their civilization builds up toward the stars. The concept of an advanced society choosing to descend is alien to them. Their arrogance became our greatest defense. But now you've returned," Elena said, turning to face Chen directly. "With technologies we've only theorized about. Your quantum drives alone represent advancement beyond our most optimistic projections." Chen nodded, understanding the unspoken question. "And you have knowledge and capabilities we never imagined possible. Your crystal tech, your geothermal mastery, your understanding of Earth's systems. These could be the key to everything." A joining of paths, Elena mused, her robes shifting through shades of thoughtful green. "Your spaceborne strength and our Earth-forged wisdom. We've spent 3 millennia preparing to reclaim Earth's surface," Chen replied. "But perhaps the true victory will come from combining what humanity has become, both above and below." The chamber's crystal lights seemed to pulse in response to the historic moment, as 2 branches of humanity, separated by time and space, but united in purpose, began to forge their shared future. Deep beneath the crystalline spires of New Haven, the history vaults stretched through a network of reinforced caverns. Marcus Wade led Captain Chen and Maya through the archives, their footsteps echoing off walls lined with data crystals that held 3 millennia of accumulated knowledge. Each crystal contains a decade of observations, analysis, and intercepted Varaxian communications, Marcus explained, his hand brushing against the softly glowing storage units. "Our ancestors began recording everything from the moment they went underground. Every mining operation, every patrol pattern, every whispered conversation we could capture." The central chamber of the vaults opened before them, a cathedral-like space dominated by a massive crystalline computer core. Hundreds of data channels flowed into it, creating a web of light that illuminated the room with a pale blue glow. "This is the heart of memory," Marcus said, approaching the central interface. "It processes and correlates all the information we've gathered. But yesterday, it found something new in the oldest records, something that changes everything we thought we knew about the invasion. Chen watched as Marcus's fingers danced across the crystal controls. The chamber darkened, then filled with a holographic representation of a Varaxian transmission from 3,000 years ago. The alien text flowed through the air, automatically translating into modern human language. Supreme Command, the message began. Initial analysis of Earth civilization development confirms our worst fears. Their technological progression rate exceeds all known species parameters. Projections indicate they will surpass our capabilities within 3 centuries if left unchecked. Maya stepped closer to the display, her eyes narrowing. They attacked us because they were afraid of our potential. Keep watching, Marcus said quietly. The transmission continued, revealing more detailed analyses of human advancement patterns. The Varaxians had been monitoring Earth's early space program, studying human adaptability and innovation. They had watched as humanity solved problems in weeks that had taken other species centuries to unravel. The humans possess an unprecedented capacity for technological intuition. Another section read, their trial and error methodology, while appearing chaotic, produces results that our most advanced prediction matrices fail to anticipate. Most concerning is their ability to repurpose and improve upon discovered technologies. If they gain access to even basic Varaxian systems, the results could be catastrophic for the Empire. Chen's hands clenched at her sides. They didn't just attack us for our resources. They tried to eliminate us as a potential threat. But that's not all, Marcus said, accessing another data crystal. Watch what happens when we cross-reference this with their current communications. New data streams appeared, showing recent Varaxian transmissions. The patterns were different, worried, uncertain. Reports of equipment failing in impossible ways, of systems acting against all known parameters. The Earth dwellers' 3,000 years of subtle resistance had created a myth among the Varaxians, a superstition about Earth itself being cursed. They never understood what was happening, Marcus explained, a hint of pride in his voice. Every time they developed new technology, we found ways to make it fail. Every time they established new protocols, we learned to bypass them. We became the ghost in their machines, the uncertainty in their equations. Maya studied the displays with growing understanding. And now you have our quantum technology to work with. While you have our intimate knowledge of their systems, Marcus finished. Everything we've learned, every weakness we've discovered, every flaw we've exploited. It's all here in the vaults. Chen stepped forward, placing her hand against the crystal core. The surface hummed beneath her touch, responding to the subtle quantum fields generated by her shipborne nervous system. 3,000 years of preparation, from both sides of the stars. Perhaps this is what they truly feared. Not just our technology, but our relentless drive to overcome any obstacle. The heart of memory pulsed brightly, as if acknowledging the truth of her words. In its light, the descendants of Earth's past and future stood united, ready to prove their ancient enemies' fears had been well-founded. Mars hung like a crimson jewel against the black velvet of space, its surface marked by the geometric patterns of Varaxian military installations. The memory of Terra led the fleet into position, accompanied by 12 massive Earth-dweller vessels that had emerged from hidden lunar bases. These hybrid ships, built in secret over centuries, combined crystal technology with designs gleaned from studying Varaxian wreckage. All ships report ready, Maya announced from her station. The bridge hummed with focused energy as Captain Chen studied the tactical display. The Varaxian defense grid covered the planet in a web of overlapping fields, designed to stop any conventional assault. Fortunately, Chen said with a slight smile, we're anything but conventional. Signal the Earth-dweller ships to begin their approach. The hybrid vessels moved forward, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight in ways that confused Varaxian sensors. From their ventral bays, they released what appeared to be simple mining pods. Technology the Varaxians had seen countless times before. The defensive grid ignored them, programmed to allow mining equipment through. Mining pods in position, Marcus reported from his temporary station on the bridge. Initiating Phase 2. The mining pods suddenly transformed, their outer shells splitting to reveal advanced drilling vehicles developed in the underground cities of Earth. These machines could bore through planetary crust with barely a tremor, designed for complete stealth over 3 millennia of hidden resistance. Surface teams are away, Maya added as the return fleet's quantum phase shifts shimmered and seemed to fade from reality. Chen watched the coordinates carefully. Timing would be everything. Deep beneath the Martian surface, the drilling vehicles carved new tunnels with impossible speed, their crystal-based technology allowing them to pass through rock like light through glass. They approached the foundations of key Varaxian installations, placing devices that would turn the very ground against their occupiers. All teams in position, Marcus confirmed. Crystal resonators are primed. Chen nodded, her voice clear and commanding. Execute primary attack pattern. Let's show them why they were right to fear us. The quantum phase ships reappeared inside the Varaxian defense grid, their arrival synchronized with the activation of the underground resonators. The crystalline devices vibrated at frequencies that transformed the Martian bedrock into a substance with properties between solid and liquid, something the Earth dwellers had perfected in their subterranean cities. Varaxian bases began sinking into the suddenly unstable ground as the quantum phase ships opened fire with weapons that existed in multiple states simultaneously, bypassing shields designed to stop normal energy attacks. Defensive platforms tried to target the human vessels, but the ships simply phased out of existence when threatened, reappearing elsewhere to continue their assault. They're deploying their counterattack forces, Maya reported, highlighting new signals on the tactical display. Varaxian warships rose from their bases, only to find their landing zones compromised by the transformed terrain. Activate the gravity lances, Chen ordered. The return fleet's capital ships powered up their most advanced weapons, designed to manipulate the fabric of space itself. Beams of focused gravitational force lanced out, capturing Varaxian vessels in fields that bent both space and time around them. Crystal resonators at maximum output, Marcus called out. The ground beneath major Varaxian strongholds liquefied completely, swallowing entire complexes into the Martian depths. The few bases that remained stable found themselves isolated, cut off from each other by zones of altered physics and quantum disruption. The battle for Mars lasted less than an hour. The Varaxian defenders, for all their technological might, had no answer for an enemy that could attack through solid matter while turning the ground beneath their feet into an ocean. Their retreat was chaotic, their centuries-old dominion over the red planet broken by the combined might of humanity's divergent paths. As the dust settled, Chen watched the Martian sunrise paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. The first major step in reclaiming their solar system was complete, but she knew the real battle was yet to come. Somewhere in the vast reaches of space, the main Varaxian fleet was already responding to their defeated brethren's calls for aid. The void between Jupiter and Mars erupted with light as thousands of Varaxian warships tore through the fabric of space. Their arrival turned the darkness into day, a massive armada led by vessels that dwarfed even the largest human ships. The memory of Terra's sensors registered the energy signatures of weapons that could shatter moons. Incoming transmission, Maya reported, her voice steady despite the overwhelming sight before them. The Varaxian flagship is broadcasting on all frequencies. A holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of High Commander Vextar, descendant of the same ruling line that had ordered Earth's destruction 3 millennia ago. His silver-scaled face bore the ceremonial markings of his ancient house. Descendants of Earth, the commander's translated voice resonated through the bridge. Your resistance ends here. The judgment of our ancestors shall be upheld. Chen stood from her command chair, her response clear and unwavering. We've spent 3,000 years preparing for this moment, Commander. Your ancestors feared our potential. Let us show you why. She signaled Marcus, who activated the quantum communications array. Across the solar system, hidden installations powered up, the result of centuries of patient preparation by the Earth dwellers. Crystal resonators buried in asteroids and moons hummed to life, their frequencies precisely calibrated to disrupt Varaxian faster-than-light systems. All ships, execute Protocol Lazarus, Chen commanded. The human fleet split apart in a carefully choreographed dance, each vessel's quantum drive creating ripples in spacetime that overlapped and reinforced each other. The Varaxian fleet launched their first assault, energy weapons powerful enough to vaporize cities, lancing out across space. But the human ships seemed to flicker and phase, the attacks passing through them like light through mist. The quantum phase technology that had proven so effective at Mars now operated on a massive scale. Crystal Network is at full power, Marcus announced. The resonators activated simultaneously, creating a web of interference that trapped the Varaxian ships in normal space. Their advanced drives sputtered and failed as the frequencies manipulated the underlying physics they relied upon. Maya's hands flew across her tactical controls. Deploying gravity lances. Now, the human fleet's primary weapons activated, not targeting the Varaxian ships directly, but instead weaving a complex pattern of gravitational distortions around them. Space itself became a weapon, corridors of twisted physics herding the enemy fleet into predetermined zones. They're adapting their shields, Marcus warned as the Varaxian vessels attempted to compensate for the human attack strategies. But this too had been anticipated. Initiate Singularity Defense Grid, Chen ordered. The memory of Terra's most closely guarded technology activated, controlled quantum singularities that could be used as both shield and weapon. The microscopic black holes absorbed enemy fire, while their gravitational effects further disrupted Varaxian targeting systems. High Commander Vextar's voice boomed across the communications again, this time with an edge of desperation. What manner of physics is this? No species can control gravity with such precision. You spent 3,000 years watching our worlds, Chen responded, coordinating the fleet's movements through the quantum network. We spent that time watching you, learning, and advancing beyond anything you could imagine. The battle transformed into a cosmic dance, human ships phasing in and out of normal space, while their gravity weapons turned local spacetime into a maze of twisted physics. Varaxian vessels found themselves trapped in temporal eddies or pulled apart by precisely controlled gravitational forces. The Crystal Network is detecting power fluctuations in their fleet, Marcus reported. Their drive systems are burning out trying to compensate for our disruption fields. The massive Varaxian armada, pride of an empire that had dominated the galaxy for millennia, found itself outmaneuvered by an enemy that had turned the fundamental forces of the universe into their tools. Their tactical advantage of numbers meant nothing against an opponent that could simply choose to exist between moments of time. While the battle raged across the solar system, Marcus worked frantically at his station aboard the Memory of Terra, coordinating with the Earth Dweller Intelligence Network. Their underground agents, positioned throughout the Varaxian fleet over centuries of careful infiltration, had begun transmitting crucial information. "Captain," he called out, his voice cutting through the chaos of combat reports. "We're receiving data from our deep cover operatives. The Varaxian crew networks are alive with questions. The younger officers are challenging their commander's orders." Chen moved to his station, studying the incoming transmissions while Maya coordinated another gravity lance barrage. The messages revealed growing discord among the Varaxian ranks, particularly from officers who had studied Earth's history through uncensored records. Their military doctrine requires them to fight, Marcus explained, highlighting key communications. But their cultural ethics demand they question the wisdom of their ancestors. The younger generation has been raised on principles of historical reconciliation. A new transmission cut through their tactical channels. A young Varaxian commander, her scaled face bearing the marks of a prestigious military academy, broadcast on an open frequency. "High Command, we request clarification. The humans demonstrate capabilities beyond our projections, yet show tactical restraint. Their attacks disable rather than destroy. This conflicts with our historical records of their species." More voices joined the broadcast, other young officers demanding answers. The carefully maintained narrative of humanity's inherent aggression crumbled in the face of their actual behavior. The returned fleet's measured response, focused on neutralizing rather than eliminating their opponents, contradicted 3 millennia of propaganda. "Send them the archives," Chen ordered, her decision immediate. "Everything from the history vaults. Show them what their ancestors really feared." Marcus nodded, his fingers dancing across the crystal controls. The Earth Dwellers' meticulous records began streaming across all frequencies. The original attack orders, the fear of human potential, the deliberate attempt to eliminate a species simply for learning too quickly. The effect rippled through the Varaxian fleet like a shockwave. Ships began dropping out of formation as their crews received and processed the truth. The carefully edited historical records they had been raised on shattered against the weight of actual evidence. "Multiple Varaxian vessels are powering down their weapons," Maya reported, tracking the cascade of defections. "They're forming a buffer zone between us and the Loyalist forces." High Commander Vextar's voice thundered across the communications again, but this time it held a note of desperation. "Disregard these human deceptions. Remember your oaths to the Empire." "We remember our oaths," the young commander responded, her ship moving to protect a human vessel from Loyalist fire. "Our oaths to truth, to justice, and to correcting the mistakes of the past. The humans have proven themselves worthy of their survival. Have we?" The battle lines reformed as the Varaxian fleet split into factions. The younger officers, raised on principles of ethical warfare and historical responsibility, found themselves facing the remnants of an empire built on fear of the unknown. "They're protecting us," Maya whispered, watching Varaxian ships intercepting attacks from their own fleet. 3,000 years of hatred, broken by the truth. Chen stood at the center of her bridge, watching the cosmic dance of politics and warfare unfold. "Their ancestors feared we would surpass them," she said quietly. "But they never understood that true advancement comes from facing the past honestly, not hiding from it in fear." The solar system became a backdrop for a revolution centuries in the making, as a new generation of Varaxians chose to break the cycle of ancient fears. Their defection transformed a battle for vengeance into something far more powerful, a chance for 2 species to rewrite their shared history. Sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean painted the sky in colors humanity had not witnessed from the surface in 3 millennia. Captain Chen stood on the newly constructed observation platform, watching as the first rays of morning light caught the crystalline spires of New Alexandria, humanity's first surface city since the return. The city rose like a dream made real, its architecture blending the quantum engineering of the star-born humans with the crystal mastery of the Earth Dwellers. Buildings seemed to phase between states of matter, their surfaces refracting sunlight in ways that created perpetual rainbows across the sky. Maya approached, carrying a data crystal containing the latest construction reports. "The deep city connection is complete," she reported. The transit tubes now link directly to New Haven. The Earth Dwellers are already calling it the Ascension Path. Below them, citizens from both human civilizations move freely between surface and subterranean levels. Children born in the stars played with those raised in Earth's embrace, their laughter a sound that had been absent from the surface for too long. "The Varaxian restoration teams have completed their initial survey," Maya continued, bringing up a holographic display. "Their environmental engineers believe they can accelerate Earth's healing using techniques developed on their outer colonies." The younger generation of Varaxians had committed themselves to undoing their ancestors' damage. Their ships, once instruments of oppression, now carried seeds and soil samples, their weapons reformed into tools for planetary reconstruction. "Captain," a familiar voice called. Marcus emerged from a nearby quantum transport pad, accompanied by the young Varaxian commander who had first broken ranks during the battle. Commander Celera, now the liaison between their species, wore ceremonial robes that combined Varaxian patterns with human design elements. "The first deep space quantum beacon is ready for activation," Marcus announced proudly. "Once the network is complete, we'll be able to extend our gravity control systems across the entire solar system." Cell-Era nodded, her scaled features catching the morning light. "My people's scientists are still trying to understand how you developed such control over fundamental forces. They say studying your technologies could advance our understanding of physics by centuries." "Perhaps that's what your ancestors saw in us," Chen responded, watching a group of human and Varaxian engineers working together on a new crystal matrix installation. Not a threat, but a mirror showing how much farther they could go if they embraced change instead of fearing it. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission from the memory of Terra, still maintaining its vigilant orbit. The ship's quantum sensors had detected new signals from deep space. Other civilizations, drawn by news of the Varaxian Empire's transformation, seeking contact with the species that had achieved the impossible. "We should prepare a response," Maya suggested, but Chen raised her hand. "Let them come to us," she said, smiling. "Let them see what becomes possible when fear gives way to understanding." The sun climbed higher, its light catching the massive restoration platforms that hovered over damaged regions of Earth's surface. Each day brought new growth, new construction, new connections between peoples who had once seen each other only as enemies. In the underground cities, the history vaults continued their work, now recording a very different kind of story. The archives that had preserved humanity's memory of injustice now documented its capacity for forgiveness and growth. 3,000 years ago, Chen mused, watching the city come alive beneath the morning sun. Humanity faced a choice between the stars and the depths. We chose both, and in doing so, became more than either path alone could have made us. The observation platform hummed with quantum energy as more citizens arrived for the day's work. Humanity had reclaimed its cradle not through vengeance, but by demonstrating the very qualities that had once inspired fear. The ability to adapt, to innovate, and to transform enemies into allies. Earth turned beneath them, its surface bearing the first signs of healing. The legacy of humanity's long exile had become not a tale of revenge, but a testament to the power of progress over fear, of wisdom over weapons, of unity over division. The next chapter in their story was just beginning.